What if the fate of nations rested not on armies or treaties, but on the whispered secrets of a single individual? History is filled with shadowy figures who moved silently behind the scenes, shaping the course of events with nothing more than a coded message or a well-placed lie. From the ancient world to the modern era, spies have played a pivotal role in the rise and fall of empires, the outcomes of wars, and the balance of power. Their stories are a blend of courage, cunning, and often tragedy, leaving behind mysteries that continue to fascinate us. In this video, we'll uncover the lives of 25 of the most enigmatic spies in history, individuals who risked everything in the name of loyalty, betrayal, and the pursuit of secrets. Stay with us as we delve into their hidden world, where every decision could mean life or death, and where the truth is often stranger than fiction. By the end, you'll discover how these covert operatives changed the course of history, one secret at a time. Now, let's step into the enigmatic world of Mata Hari, a name that has become synonymous with intrigue and scandal. Born Margaretha Zell in the Netherlands in 1876, Mata Hari began her life far from the world of espionage. She was a woman of striking beauty and charisma, which she used to carve out a career as an exotic dancer in Paris, captivating audiences with her performances that blended sensuality and mystique. But beneath the glittering surface of her stage persona lay a life shrouded in mystery, one that would eventually lead her into the dangerous world of espionage. As World War I engulfed Europe, Mata Hari found herself caught in a web of suspicion. Her connections with high-ranking military officers from both sides of the conflict made her a target for intelligence agencies. The French accused her of being a double agent working for Germany while living in Paris. They claimed she used her charm and access to extract secrets from Allied officers, passing them on to the enemy. But the truth about her involvement remains murky. Was she truly a spy or simply a victim of wartime paranoia and her own flamboyant lifestyle? Her trial in 1917 was a spectacle, filled with sensational accusations and little concrete evidence. Mata Hari maintained her innocence, but the French authorities were determined to make an example of her. She was convicted of espionage and sentenced to death by firing squad. Her execution on October 15, 1917, marked the tragic end of a woman whose life was as much a mystery as the secret she was accused of betraying. Mata Hari's story continues to fascinate, not just for the controversy surrounding her espionage activities, but for the way her life reflects the complexities of loyalty, betrayal, and the blurred lines between truth and myth. Was she a cunning spy, a pawn in a larger game, or simply a woman caught in the wrong place at the wrong time? Her legacy remains as elusive as the secrets she may or may not have carried to her grave. And with that, we turn our attention to another figure whose bravery and sacrifice left an indelible mark on history: Nathan Hale, the American Revolutionary War spy whose famous last words still echo through the ages. Now let's journey back to the American Revolutionary War, where the story of Nathan Hale unfolds, a tale of courage, sacrifice, and a legacy that still resonates today. Born in 1755 in Connecticut, Nathan Hale was a young schoolteacher who felt a deep sense of duty to his fledgling nation. When the call to arms came, he eagerly joined the Continental Army, driven by a desire to fight for American independence. But it wasn't long before his path took a dramatic turn, leading him into the shadowy world of espionage. In 1776, as the war raged on, General George Washington needed crucial intelligence about British troop movements. Hale volunteered for a dangerous mission to infiltrate British lines on Long Island and gather information. Disguised as a Dutch schoolmaster, he ventured behind enemy lines, risking everything for the cause of freedom. But his mission was cut short when he was captured by the British, betrayed by a loyalist cousin who recognized him. Hale's capture marked the beginning of the end. Brought before British General William Howe, he was interrogated and when his true identity was revealed, sentenced to death without a trial. On the morning of September 22, 1776, Nathan Hale faced his execution with remarkable composure. It was then that he uttered the words that would immortalize him in history. "I only regret that I have but one life to lose for my country." These words, a testament to his unwavering patriotism, have echoed through the centuries as a symbol of selfless sacrifice. Though his espionage efforts were cut short, Nathan Hale's bravery left an indelible mark on the Revolutionary War. His willingness to risk everything for the cause of independence inspired countless others to continue the fight. While his mission may not have yielded the intelligence Washington sought, his legacy became a rallying cry for the American spirit, a reminder of the courage and resolve that defined the struggle for freedom. As we reflect on Nathan Hale's story, we're reminded of the profound impact one individual can have, even in the face of overwhelming odds. His life, though tragically short, serves as a powerful example of dedication and sacrifice. And with that, we turn our attention to another remarkable figure from the annals of espionage, Belle Boyd, the Confederate spy whose daring exploits during the American Civil War earned her the nickname La Belle Rebelle. Now, let's step into the turbulent era of the American Civil War, where the story of Belle Boyd unfolds, a tale of audacity, charm, and unyielding loyalty to the Confederate cause. Born in 1844 in Martinsburg, Virginia, Belle Boyd was just 17 when the war broke out, but her fiery spirit and sharp wit quickly made her one of the most daring spies of her time. Belle's journey into espionage began almost by accident. In July 1861, Union soldiers occupied her hometown, and during a confrontation at her family's home, she shot and killed a soldier who had allegedly insulted her mother. Though she was acquitted of any wrongdoing, the incident marked the beginning of her transformation into a Confederate operative. Using her charm and social connections, Belle began gathering intelligence on Union troop movements, often eavesdropping on officers' conversations or flirting her way into their confidence. Her methods were as bold as they were effective. Disguised as a civilian, she would ride through Union lines, carrying messages and critical information hidden in her clothing or even sewn into the hems of her dresses. One of her most famous exploits took place during the spring of 1862, when she risked her life to deliver vital intelligence to General Stonewall Jackson. Riding through enemy territory under the cover of darkness, she provided details about Union positions that helped Jackson secure a decisive victory at the Battle of Front Royal. Belle's bravery earned her the nickname La Belle Rebelle, and her exploits became legendary. She was arrested multiple times by Union forces, but her quick thinking and resourcefulness often allowed her to escape or secure her release. At one point, she was even imprisoned in Washington, D.C., but her charm and wit won over her captors, and she was eventually released in a prisoner exchange. Despite her successes, Belle's life as a spy was fraught with danger and hardship. After the war, she turned to acting and writing, recounting her adventures in a memoir titled Belle Boyd in Camp and Prison. Her story remains a fascinating chapter in the history of espionage, showcasing the courage and ingenuity of a woman who defied societal expectations to serve her cause. As we reflect on Belle Boyd's remarkable life, we're reminded of the extraordinary lengths individuals will go to for their beliefs. Her daring exploits not only shaped key moments of the Civil War, but also left an enduring legacy of resilience and determination. And with that, we turn our attention to another enigmatic figure in the world of espionage, Richard Sorge, the Soviet spy whose intelligence work during World War II changed the course of history. Now, let's shift our focus to the shadowy world of international espionage during World War II, where Richard Sorge emerges as one of the most effective and enigmatic spies of the 20th century. Born in 1895 in Baku, Azerbaijan, Sorge was a man of contradictions, a committed communist who infiltrated the highest echelons of Nazi Germany, a journalist by day and a master spy by night. His story is one of daring deception, meticulous planning, and ultimately tragic betrayal. Sorge's journey into espionage began long before the war. A veteran of World War I, he was deeply influenced by the political upheavals of the time, eventually aligning himself with the Soviet Union. By the 1930s, he had become a key operative for Soviet intelligence, tasked with gathering critical information on Germany and Japan. Posing as a loyal Nazi and a respected journalist, Sorge embedded himself in Tokyo, where he cultivated relationships with high-ranking German officials and Japanese elites. His cover was so convincing that even those closest to him had no idea of his true allegiance. One of Sorge's most significant contributions came in 1941, when he provided the Soviets with crucial intelligence about Operation Barbarossa, Germany's planned invasion of the Soviet Union. Despite his warnings, Stalin initially dismissed the reports, but Sorge's information proved accurate, giving the Soviets valuable time to prepare. Later that same year, he delivered another game-changing piece of intelligence. Japan had no plans to attack the Soviet Union from the east. This allowed Stalin to redeploy troops from Siberia to the Western Front, a move that played a pivotal role in turning the tide of the war, but Sorge's success came at a cost. His network, known as the Red Orchestra, was eventually uncovered by Japanese counterintelligence. In October 1941, Sorge was arrested, and after a lengthy interrogation, he confessed to being a Soviet spy. Despite his attempts to negotiate his release, he was sentenced to death and executed in November 1944. His final words, reportedly, were a toast to the Soviet Union and the Red Army. Richard Sorge's legacy is a testament to the power of intelligence in shaping history. His work not only saved countless lives but also altered the course of World War II. Yet, his story also serves as a reminder of the high stakes and personal sacrifices that come with the life of a spy. As we move forward, we'll explore another remarkable figure in the world of espionage, Virginia Hale, whose courage and ingenuity made her one of the most successful female spies of World War II. Now, let's turn our attention to a figure whose resilience and resourcefulness made her one of the most extraordinary spies of World War II, Virginia Hale. Known as the Limping Lady due to her prosthetic leg, Hale's story is one of courage, ingenuity, and sheer determination. Despite facing immense physical and societal challenges, she became one of the most effective operatives in the history of espionage. Virginia Hale's journey into the world of intelligence began with a twist of fate. After losing her left leg in a hunting accident in 1933, she refused to let her disability define her. When World War II broke out, Hale joined the British Special Operations Executive, or SO, where she was sent to Nazi-occupied France. Her mission was to organize resistance networks, gather intelligence, and sabotage German operations. Hale's ability to blend in, coupled with her fluency in French, made her an invaluable asset. She moved through occupied territories with ease, often disguising herself as a peasant or a milkmaid to avoid detection. But Hale's work didn't stop there. After the SOE withdrew her from France due to increasing Gestapo scrutiny, she joined the American Office of Strategic Services, or OSS, the precursor to the CIA. Returning to France under a new identity, she continued her efforts to undermine the Nazi regime. Hale's prosthetic leg, which she named Cuthbert, became both a challenge and a symbol of her perseverance. Despite the constant risk of exposure, she evaded capture time and time again, even as the Gestapo labeled her one of their most wanted targets. One of her most daring feats was orchestrating the escape of downed Allied airmen and organizing resistance fighters to disrupt German supply lines. Her ability to inspire and lead under such perilous conditions earned her the respect of her peers and the fear of her enemies. By the end of the war, Hale had become a legend, receiving numerous accolades for her bravery. including the Distinguished Service Cross, the only civilian woman to be awarded this honor during World War II. Virginia Hall's legacy is a testament to the power of determination and adaptability. Her story reminds us that even in the face of overwhelming odds, one person's courage can change the course of history. As we continue our exploration of these mysterious spies, we'll next uncover the tale of Aldrich Ames, a man whose betrayal shook the foundations of American intelligence. Now, shifting our focus to a darker chapter in the history of espionage, we delve into the story of Aldrich Ames, a man whose actions would send shockwaves through the intelligence community. Unlike the heroic figures we've explored so far, Ames represents a stark contrast, a trusted CIA officer who became one of the most damaging moles in American history. His betrayal not only compromised countless operations but also cost the lives of numerous agents, leaving a scar on the fabric of U.S. intelligence that would take years to heal. Aldrich Ames began his career with the Central Intelligence Agency in the 1960s, working his way up through various roles. For years, he was seen as a competent, if unremarkable, officer. But beneath the surface, Ames harbored financial troubles and personal dissatisfaction, which would ultimately lead him down a treacherous path. In 1985, he made the fateful decision to sell classified information to the Soviet Union, motivated by greed and a desire to escape his mounting debts. What followed was one of the most devastating breaches of security in CIA history. Ames' betrayal was as methodical as it was destructive. Over the course of nearly a decade, he handed over the identities of dozens of American agents operating in the Soviet Union, many of whom were subsequently arrested, tortured, or executed. His actions also exposed critical intelligence operations, crippling U.S. efforts to gather information during the final years of the Cold War. The sheer scale of his treachery was staggering, and the human cost was immeasurable. Families were torn apart, careers were destroyed, and trust within the intelligence community was shattered. What made Ames particularly dangerous was his ability to exploit his position within the CIA. He had access to highly sensitive information, and his knowledge of counterintelligence tactics allowed him to evade suspicion for years. Despite red flags, including his sudden financial prosperity and erratic behavior, Ames managed to avoid detection until the early 1990s. It wasn't until a joint investigation by the CIA and the FBI that his activities were finally uncovered. In 1994, Ames was arrested and later sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The fallout from Ames' actions was profound. His betrayal forced the CIA to re-evaluate its internal security measures and led to sweeping reforms aimed at preventing future breaches. Yet the damage he caused could not be undone. The lives lost and the secrets exposed serve as a grim reminder of the vulnerabilities within even the most sophisticated intelligence agencies. As we reflect on Aldrich Ames' story, it's impossible not to feel a sense of betrayal and loss. His actions stand in stark contrast to the bravery and loyalty displayed by so many of the spies we've discussed. Yet his story is a crucial part of the broader narrative of espionage, highlighting the high stakes and moral complexities that define this shadowy world. Next, we'll explore the life of Klaus Fuchs, a physicist whose espionage would shape the course of the Cold War in ways no one could have predicted. Turning now to a story that intertwines science, politics, and betrayal, we meet Klaus Fuchs, a brilliant physicist whose actions would alter the course of the Cold War. Unlike the shadowy operatives we've discussed so far, Fuchs was a man of intellect working at the heart of one of the most secretive projects in history, the development of the atomic bomb. Yet his contributions to science would be overshadowed by his decision to share classified information with the Soviet Union, a choice that would have far-reaching consequences. Born in Germany in 1911, Fuchs fled the rise of the Nazi regime and eventually settled in Britain, where his talents in physics earned him a place in the British nuclear research program. His work was so impressive that he was later recruited to join the Manhattan Project, the top-secret American initiative to build the first atomic bomb. It was here, surrounded by some of the greatest scientific minds of the time, that Fuchs began his double life, motivated by a mix of ideological conviction and personal disillusionment. Fuchs believed that sharing atomic secrets with the Soviet Union would help balance global power and prevent the United States from monopolizing such a devastating weapon. Over the course of several years, he passed critical information about the bomb's design and development to Soviet agents. His actions accelerated the Soviet Union's own nuclear program, effectively shortening the timeline for their first atomic test and intensifying the arms race that defined the Cold War. The impact of Fuchs' espionage was profound. By the time the Soviet Union successfully detonated its first atomic bomb in 1949, the balance of power had shifted dramatically. The United States was no longer the sole nuclear power, and the world entered an era of heightened tension and mutual distrust. Fuchs' betrayal not only altered the geopolitical landscape, but also raised questions about the security of scientific research and the ethical responsibilities of those who wield such knowledge. Despite his careful efforts to conceal his activities, Fuchs' espionage was eventually uncovered. In 1950, following an investigation into Soviet intelligence operations, British authorities arrested him. Fuchs confessed to his actions, providing a detailed account of his espionage activities. He was tried and sentenced to 14 years in prison, of which he served 9 before being released and relocating to East Germany, where he continued his scientific career. Klaus Fuchs' story is a complex one, blending idealism, betrayal, and the unintended consequences of scientific discovery. His actions remind us that the world of espionage is not confined to shadowy operatives in dark alleys. It can also involve those who work in laboratories and lecture halls, shaping the future in ways both seen and unseen. As we move forward, we'll explore the life of Sidney Riley, a man whose exploits earned him the title of the Ace of Spies, and whose mysterious life continues to captivate historians and enthusiasts alike. Now, let's step into the shadowy world of Sidney Riley, a man whose exploits earned him the legendary title of the Ace of Spies. Unlike many of the figures we've explored, Riley's life was a tapestry of daring missions, elaborate deceptions, and a mysterious end that has left historians puzzled for decades. His story is one of audacity, intrigue, and a relentless pursuit of adventure that made him a central figure in the early days of modern espionage. Born in Russia in 1874, Riley's early life was shrouded in mystery, with conflicting accounts of his origins and upbringing. What is clear, however, is that he possessed a remarkable talent for reinvention. Fluent in multiple languages and adept at assuming different identities, Riley became a master of disguise and deception. His skills caught the attention of British intelligence, and he was recruited to work for the Secret Intelligence Service, the precursor to today's MI6. Riley's most famous operation took place during the Russian Revolution. Posing as a businessman, he infiltrated the highest levels of the Bolshevik government, even gaining access to Lenin himself. His mission was to gather intelligence and, if possible, orchestrate a coup to overthrow the Bolshevik regime. While the coup ultimately failed, Riley's audacity and resourcefulness cemented his reputation as one of the most daring spies of his time. His ability to navigate treacherous political landscapes and extract critical information made him an invaluable asset to British intelligence. But Riley's life was not without its controversies. His methods were often ruthless, and his loyalty was sometimes questioned. He operated in a gray area where the lines between ally and adversary were frequently blurred. This complexity only added to his mystique, making him a figure of fascination both during his lifetime and long after his death. Speaking of his death, the circumstances surrounding it remain one of the greatest mysteries in the history of espionage. In 1925, Riley was lured back into the Soviet Union under the pretense of a secret mission. Once there, he was captured by the Soviet secret police and executed. Or so the official story goes. Some believe that Riley may have faked his death, continuing his work in the shadows. Others suggest that his demise was the result of a double cross by his own handlers. The truth may never be known, but the ambiguity of his fate only adds to his legend. Riley's influence on the world of espionage is undeniable. His exploits inspired countless works of fiction, including the creation of the iconic character James Bond. His ability to blend into any environment, his mastery of deception, and his willingness to take extraordinary risks set a standard for spies that continues to be admired and emulated to this day. As we move forward, we'll uncover the story of Noor-in-Nayat Khan, a British spy whose courage and sacrifice during World War II left an indelible mark on history. From the enigmatic world of Sidney Riley, we now turn to a story of extraordinary courage and sacrifice. Noor-in-Nayat Khan, a British spy of Indian descent, stands as a testament to the resilience and bravery of those who risked everything in the fight against tyranny during World War II. Born into a family with a rich cultural heritage, Noor was a writer and musician before the war, but her life took a dramatic turn when she joined the Special Operations Executive, or SO, a British organization dedicated to espionage and sabotage in Nazi-occupied Europe. Noor's mission was as dangerous as it was vital. In 1943, she was sent to Nazi-occupied France as a wireless operator, a role that required her to transmit critical intelligence back to Britain. This was no small task. Wireless operators were among the most hunted individuals in occupied territories, as their work was essential to coordinating resistance efforts. Despite the constant threat of capture, Noor displayed remarkable composure and resourcefulness, often moving from place to avoid detection while maintaining her communications. Her bravery, however, came at a cost. After just a few months in France, Noor was betrayed and captured by the Gestapo. Despite enduring intense interrogation and torture, she refused to divulge any information about her mission or her colleagues. Her steadfastness in the face of unimaginable suffering was a testament to her strength of character and unwavering commitment to the cause. Even in captivity, Noor attempted to escape not once but twice, though both attempts were ultimately unsuccessful. Noor's story took a tragic turn when she was transferred to the Dachau concentration camp in 1944. There, she was executed alongside 3 other female SOE agents. Her final moments were marked by the same courage she had shown throughout her life, as she reportedly shouted "Liberté," freedom, before her death. Noor-in-Nayat Khan's sacrifice was not in vain. Her work provided invaluable intelligence to the Allies, and her legacy as one of the bravest spies of World War II endures to this day. As we reflect on Noor's extraordinary life, we are reminded of the immense personal cost of war and the quiet heroism of those who fought in the shadows. Her story is one of resilience, defiance, and an unyielding belief in the cause of freedom. Next, we'll delve into the life of Kim Philby, a man whose actions would shake the foundations of British intelligence and redefine the concept of betrayal in the world of espionage. From the tragic heroism of Noor-in-Nayat Khan, we now shift our focus to a figure whose name became synonymous with betrayal in the world of espionage. Kim Philby, one of the most infamous double agents in history, stands as a stark reminder of how deeply trust can be shattered. Born into a privileged British family, Philby's early life gave little indication of the path he would eventually take. Educated at Cambridge University, he was part of an elite circle of intellectuals, but beneath the surface, Philby harbored a secret that would change the course of intelligence history. Philby's journey into espionage began in the 1930s when he was recruited by Soviet intelligence. Alongside 4 other Cambridge graduates known collectively as the Cambridge Five, Philby infiltrated the highest levels of British intelligence. His charm, intellect, and apparent loyalty allowed him to rise through the ranks, eventually becoming a senior officer in MI6, Britain's Foreign Intelligence Service. For years, he operated as a trusted insider, all the while passing sensitive information to the Soviet Union. The scale of Philby's betrayal was staggering. He provided the Soviets with critical details about British and American operations, including plans for covert actions during the Cold War. His actions not only compromised countless missions, but also led to the exposure and execution of numerous agents working behind the Iron Curtain. The long-term impact of his espionage was profound, eroding trust within British intelligence and forcing a complete re-evaluation of security protocols. Despite mounting suspicions, Philby managed to evade detection for years. His ability to manipulate those around him was unparalleled, and even when confronted with evidence, he skillfully deflected blame. It wasn't until 1963, after decades of deception, that Philby finally defected to the Soviet Union, leaving behind a trail of devastation. His defection was a shocking blow to British intelligence, exposing vulnerabilities that would take years to address. Kim Philby's story is one of complexity and contradiction. While his actions caused irreparable harm, they also revealed the intricate and often perilous nature of espionage. His legacy serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of misplaced trust and the far-reaching consequences of betrayal. As we move forward, we'll explore the life of Nancy Wake, a fearless spy whose daring exploits in the French Resistance earned her the nickname the White Mouse. Now, let's turn our attention to a figure whose courage and resourcefulness made her a legend in the world of espionage. Nancy Wake, a New Zealand-born spy, emerged as one of the most decorated women of World War II, earning her the nickname the White Mouse for her ability to evade capture. Her story is one of relentless bravery, daring escapes, and unwavering leadership in the face of unimaginable danger. Nancy Wake's journey into espionage began after she married a French industrialist and settled in France. When the Nazis invaded, she quickly joined the French resistance, using her charm and wit to gather intelligence and assist Allied soldiers in escaping occupied territory. Her work soon caught the attention of British intelligence, and she was recruited into the Special Operations Executive, or SO, a covert organization tasked with sabotage and resistance operations in Nazi-occupied Europe. Wake's leadership in the French resistance was nothing short of extraordinary. She organized and trained thousands of resistance fighters, coordinating attacks on Nazi supply lines, communication networks, and infrastructure. Her ability to inspire and lead under extreme pressure was unmatched, and she became a key figure in the fight against the German occupation. Despite the constant threat of capture and execution, Wake remained fearless, often putting herself in harm's way to protect her comrades and further the resistance's cause. One of the most remarkable aspects of Nancy Wake's story is her incredible ability to evade capture. The Gestapo placed her at the top of their most wanted list, offering a 5 million franc reward for her capture. Yet, time and again, she outsmarted her pursuers. In one particularly daring escape, she cycled over 250 miles through enemy territory to deliver critical intelligence, evading multiple checkpoints and patrols along the way. Her resourcefulness and determination made her a thorn in the side of the Nazis, and her exploits became the stuff of legend. By the end of the war, Nancy Wake had become one of the most decorated women in Allied forces, receiving honors from Britain, France, and the United States. Her legacy is a testament to the power of courage, resilience, and leadership in the face of overwhelming odds. As we continue our exploration of history's most mysterious spies, we'll next uncover the story of Fritz Joubert Duquesne, a master of deception whose elaborate schemes spanned 2 world wars. Now, let's shift our focus to a man whose life was as dramatic and deceptive as the plots he orchestrated. Fritz Joubert Duquesne, a South African spy, was a master of disguise and intrigue, working for Germany during both World War I and World War II. His story is one of cunning schemes, audacious exploits, and a relentless pursuit of his own agenda. making him one of the most fascinating figures in the history of espionage. Duquesne's career as a spy began during World War I when he offered his services to Germany. Born in South Africa, he harbored a deep resentment toward the British due to their actions during the Boer War, which had devastated his family. This personal vendetta fueled his determination to undermine British interests at every turn. Duquesne's early missions involved sabotage, including the sinking of British ships by planting bombs disguised as coal. His ability to blend in and manipulate situations earned him a reputation as a highly effective and dangerous operative, but Duquesne's ambitions didn't stop there. Between the wars, he reinvented himself multiple times, taking on various identities to further his goals. He posed as a journalist, a scientist, and even a British officer, using these personas to gather intelligence and carry out covert operations. His most audacious scheme involved infiltrating the United States, where he posed as a war hero and gained access to sensitive military information, which he then passed on to Germany. When World War II erupted, Duquesne once again offered his services to the Nazis. This time, he became part of the Duquesne spy ring, one of the largest espionage networks ever uncovered in the United States. The ring, consisting of over 30 agents, gathered critical information on American military technology and shipping routes, which they relayed back to Germany. Duquesne's role in this operation was pivotal, and his ability to evade detection for so long is a testament to his skill and resourcefulness. However, his luck eventually ran out. In one of the most significant counterintelligence operations of the war, the FBI, led by J. Edgar Hoover, managed to infiltrate and dismantle the Duquesne spy ring. Duquesne was arrested in 1941 along with the other members of the network. His capture marked the end of a decades-long career of deception and intrigue. He was sentenced to prison, where he spent the remainder of his life, leaving behind a legacy of daring exploits and complex schemes. Fritz Joubert Duquesne's story is a reminder of the shadowy world of espionage, where loyalty is fluid and deception is an art form. As we continue our journey through the lives of history's most mysterious spies, we'll next explore the life of Christine Granville, a Polish-born British spy whose daring missions during World War II made her one of the most remarkable figures of the conflict. Now, let's turn our attention to a figure whose courage and resourcefulness made her one of the most extraordinary spies of World War II. Christine Granville, born Krystyna Skarbek in Poland, was a woman of remarkable bravery and ingenuity. Her story is one of daring missions, unwavering loyalty, and a tragic end that underscores the often overlooked sacrifices of those who served in the shadows. Christine Granville's journey into espionage began with a deep desire to fight against the Nazi occupation of her homeland. After Poland fell to Germany in 1939, she fled to Britain, where she offered her services to the Special Operations Executive, or SO, a British organization dedicated to conducting espionage and sabotage in occupied Europe. Her fluency in multiple languages, quick thinking, and fearless nature made her an ideal candidate for undercover work. One of her most notable missions took place in Nazi-occupied France, where she played a crucial role in organizing and supporting the French resistance. Granville's ability to blend in and gain the trust of local communities was unparalleled. She often posed as a civilian or a refugee, using her charm and wit to gather intelligence and coordinate resistance efforts. Her most daring feat involved rescuing two fellow agents who had been captured by the Gestapo. By impersonating a high-ranking officer's wife and bluffing her way through a tense confrontation, she secured their release, saving their lives and preserving critical intelligence. Granville's contributions extended beyond intelligence gathering. She was instrumental in sabotaging German operations, disrupting supply lines, and rallying resistance fighters. Her courage under pressure earned her the admiration of her peers and the respect of her enemies. She was awarded the George Medal and the Order of the British Empire for her exceptional service, making her one of the most decorated female spies of the war. However, the end of the war did not bring peace for Christine Granville. Like many spies, she struggled to adapt to civilian life. Her post-war years were marked by financial hardship and personal struggles. Despite her heroic contributions, she found it difficult to secure stable employment and was often overlooked by the very institutions she had served so valiantly. Tragically, her life was cut short in 1952 when she was murdered by a jealous former lover, a shocking and heartbreaking end for a woman who had risked everything for freedom and justice. Christine Granville's story is a testament to the courage and resilience of those who fought in the shadows during World War II. Her legacy lives on as a symbol of bravery and sacrifice, reminding us of the often untold stories of women in espionage. As we continue our exploration of history's most mysterious spies, we'll next delve into the controversial case of Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, whose actions during the Cold War sparked one of the most infamous espionage trials in history. Now, let's shift our focus to one of the most controversial and debated espionage cases in history, the story of Julius and Ethel Rosenberg. This American couple became central figures in a Cold War drama that captivated the world and ended in their execution, marking a dark chapter in the history of espionage and justice. Julius and Ethel Rosenberg were ordinary citizens living in New York when they were accused of being part of a Soviet spy ring. Their alleged crime, passing atomic secrets to the Soviet Union during a time when the world was gripped by the fear of nuclear war. The case against them began in the early 1950s at the height of the Cold War, when tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union were at their peak. The Rosenbergs were accused of providing the Soviets with critical information about the Manhattan Project, the top-secret American initiative to develop the atomic bomb. The evidence against the Rosenbergs largely came from Ethel's brother, David Greenglass, who worked as a machinist on the Manhattan Project. Greenglass claimed that Julius had recruited him to pass classified information to Soviet agents. He also implicated Ethel, alleging that she had typed up notes containing sensitive details about the project. This testimony became the cornerstone of the prosecution's case, painting the Rosenbergs as key players in a conspiracy to aid the Soviet Union. The trial was highly publicized and deeply polarizing. On one side, many saw the Rosenbergs as traitors who had jeopardized national security and accelerated the Soviet Union's nuclear capabilities. On the other side, others believed they were victims of a politically motivated witch hunt, caught in the crossfire of Cold War paranoia. The Rosenbergs maintained their innocence throughout the trial, insisting they were being framed for crimes they did not commit. Despite the lack of concrete evidence directly linking them to the espionage, the Rosenbergs were found guilty and sentenced to death. Their execution by electric chair in 1953 made them the only American civilians to be put to death for espionage during the Cold War. The case sparked widespread outrage and debate, with many questioning the fairness of the trial and the severity of the punishment. Were they truly guilty, or were they scapegoats in a larger geopolitical struggle? The legacy of Julius and Ethel Rosenberg remains a subject of intense scrutiny and controversy. Declassified documents in later years revealed that Julius had indeed been involved in espionage, though the extent of Ethel's involvement remains unclear. Their story raises profound questions about justice, loyalty, and the human cost of ideological conflict. As we move forward in our exploration of history's most mysterious spies, we'll next uncover the life of Duško Popov, a double agent whose daring exploits during World War II earned him the nickname, the man who inspired James Bond. Now, let's step into the shadowy world of Duško Popov, a man whose life reads like a spy thriller. Known as one of the most daring double agents of World War II, Popov played a pivotal role in one of the war's most critical moments, the D-Day invasion. But his story is more than just espionage. It's a tale of charm, cunning, and a lifestyle so extravagant that it reportedly inspired the creation of James Bond. Born in Serbia, Duško Popov was a man of many talents and even more aliases. Fluent in multiple languages and possessing a magnetic personality, he was recruited by British intelligence to infiltrate German spy networks. Under the codename Tricycle, Popov became a master of deception, feeding false information to the Nazis while secretly working for the Allies. His ability to navigate both sides of the war made him an invaluable asset, but it also placed him in constant danger. One of Popov's most significant contributions was his role in Operation Fortitude, the elaborate Allied plan to deceive the Germans about the location of the D-Day invasion. By feeding the Nazis misleading intelligence, Popov helped convince them that the Allies would land at Pas-de-Calais instead of Normandy. This deception was crucial in ensuring the success of the invasion, as it diverted German forces away from the actual landing sites. Popov's ability to manipulate information and maintain his cover under intense scrutiny was nothing short of extraordinary. But Duško Popov wasn't just a spy, he was a larger-than-life character. Known for his love of luxury, he frequented high-end casinos, drove fast cars, and mingled with the elite. His flamboyant lifestyle often raised eyebrows, but it also served as the perfect cover for his covert activities. In fact, his exploits were so legendary that they reportedly caught the attention of Ian Fleming, the creator of James Bond. Many believe that Popov's charm, wit, and daring inspired the iconic character of 007. Despite his success, Popov's double life came with immense risks. He was constantly under suspicion from both the Germans and the Allies, and one wrong move could have meant his capture or worse. Yet he managed to outwit his enemies time and time again, proving himself to be one of the most effective and enigmatic spies of his era. As we reflect on Duško Popov's remarkable life, it's impossible not to marvel at his ability to balance danger and glamour. His story reminds us that espionage is not just about secrets and strategy, it's also about the human element, the courage to walk a tightrope between loyalty and betrayal. Next, we'll explore the life of Anthony Blunt, a man whose secrets extended far beyond the world of espionage, as we continue our journey through history's most mysterious spies. Now, let's turn our attention to a figure whose life was a masterclass in duality: Anthony Blunt. A man of intellect and refinement, Blunt was not only a respected art historian, but also a key member of the infamous Cambridge Five spy ring. His story is one of betrayal, secrets, and a double life that remained hidden for decades. Anthony Blunt's journey into espionage began during his time at Cambridge University in the 1930s. Alongside 4 other students, he was recruited by Soviet intelligence, drawn to the ideals of communism during a time of political upheaval. This group, later known as the Cambridge Five, would go on to infiltrate the highest levels of British intelligence, passing sensitive information to the Soviet Union for years. Blunt's role in this network was particularly significant, as he used his position within British intelligence to access classified documents, which he then shared with his Soviet handlers. But Blunt's public life was a stark contrast to his covert activities. As an art historian, he was a towering figure in his field. He served as the surveyor of the King's Pictures, later the Queen's Pictures, a prestigious role that placed him in charge of the Royal Art Collection. His expertise and contributions to art history earned him widespread respect and admiration. He was even knighted in 1956, a testament to his standing in British society. Yet, all the while, he was living a lie, his true allegiance hidden behind a facade of scholarly achievement. The revelation of Blunt's espionage came as a shock to many. In 1964, he was confronted by British intelligence and confessed to his role as a Soviet spy. However, his exposure was kept secret for over a decade, as the British government sought to avoid the embarrassment of a public scandal. It wasn't until 1979 that his betrayal was made public, leading to the stripping of his knighthood and his fall from grace. The revelation sent shockwaves through both the art world and the intelligence community, as people struggled to reconcile the respected scholar with the traitor he had become. Anthony Blunt's story raises profound questions about loyalty, identity, and the lengths to which people will go for their beliefs. His ability to maintain his double life for so long is a testament to his intelligence and cunning, but it also serves as a reminder of the human cost of espionage. As we move forward, we'll delve into the life of Violette Chabot, a British spy whose bravery and sacrifice during World War II stand in stark contrast to Blunt's betrayal. Her story is one of courage, resilience, and the unyielding spirit of those who risked everything for the greater good. Now, let's shift our focus to a story of extraordinary courage and sacrifice: Violette Chabot. Unlike the shadowy betrayals of Anthony Blunt, Chabot's tale is one of unwavering bravery and selflessness. A British spy during World War II, she risked everything to fight against the Nazi occupation of France, leaving behind a legacy that continues to inspire. Violette Chabot's journey into espionage began in 1943, when she joined the Special Operations Executive, or SO, a British organization tasked with conducting espionage and sabotage in occupied Europe. At just 22 years old, she was sent into Nazi-occupied France as a field agent, a role that required immense courage and resourcefulness. Her mission was to support the French resistance by gathering intelligence, organizing sabotage operations, and helping Allied airmen escape capture. Despite the constant danger, Chabot carried out her duties with remarkable determination, earning the respect of her comrades and the fear of her enemies. Her first mission in France was a success, but it was during her second deployment that her story took a tragic turn. In June 1944, just days after the D-Day landings, Chabot was ambushed by German forces while attempting to evade capture. Outnumbered and outgunned, she fought valiantly, holding off the enemy long enough to allow her fellow resistance fighters to escape. Her bravery in that moment was undeniable, but it came at a cost. She was captured and taken prisoner, marking the beginning of a harrowing ordeal. Chabot's imprisonment was marked by relentless interrogation and harsh conditions. Despite the physical and psychological torture she endured, she refused to divulge any information about her mission or her comrades. Her resilience in the face of such brutality was a testament to her strength of character and her unwavering commitment to the cause. Eventually, she was transferred to Ravensbrück, a notorious concentration camp for women, where she continued to endure unimaginable suffering. Tragically, in early 1945, just months before the end of the war, Chabot was executed by the Nazis. She was only 23 years old. Though her life was cut short, Violette Chabot's heroism did not go unrecognized. In 1946, she was posthumously awarded the George Cross, one of the highest honors for bravery in the United Kingdom. She was also awarded the Croix de Guerre by France, a testament to her contributions to the French resistance. Her story has since become a symbol of courage and sacrifice, inspiring countless books, films, and memorials. Violette Chabot's legacy is a powerful reminder of the extraordinary lengths to which ordinary people will go in the face of tyranny. Her bravery, resilience, and ultimate sacrifice stand in stark contrast to the betrayal of figures like Anthony Blunt, offering a poignant example of the human spirit's capacity for heroism. As we move forward, we'll explore the life of George Koval, an American-born Soviet spy whose infiltration of the Manhattan Project had far-reaching consequences for the Cold War. His story is one of intrigue, deception, and the high-stakes world of atomic espionage. Now, let's turn our attention to a story of deception that unfolded in the shadows of one of history's most secretive projects, the Manhattan Project. George Koval, an American-born Soviet spy, played a pivotal role in one of the most significant intelligence operations of the 20th century. His infiltration of the Manhattan Project, the top-secret American initiative to develop the atomic bomb, would have far-reaching consequences for the Cold War and the balance of global power. Born in Iowa in 1913 to Russian immigrant parents, Koval's early life seemed unremarkable. However, his family's return to the Soviet Union in the 1930s marked the beginning of his transformation into a key player in Soviet espionage. Trained by the Soviet intelligence agency, Koval was sent back to the United States in the early 1940s with a mission that would place him at the heart of one of the most guarded scientific endeavors in history. Koval's intelligence and charm allowed him to blend seamlessly into American society. He enlisted in the United States Army, where his scientific background earned him a position in the Special Engineer Detachment, a unit tasked with supporting the Manhattan Project. This assignment gave him unprecedented access to classified information about the development of nuclear weapons. Over the course of his time in the project, Koval meticulously gathered and transmitted critical details about the atomic bomb to his Soviet handlers. His intelligence work provided the Soviet Union with a significant advantage in their own nuclear program, accelerating their ability to develop atomic weapons. What made Koval particularly effective was his ability to operate undetected. Unlike many spies who were eventually caught, Koval managed to evade suspicion throughout his time in the United States. His deep cover and careful tradecraft allowed him to maintain his position within the Manhattan Project without raising alarms. Even after the war, when the United States began to uncover Soviet espionage networks, Koval remained a step ahead. In 1948, he quietly returned to the Soviet Union, where he was celebrated as a hero for his contributions to Soviet science and security. Koval's story is a fascinating example of the high-stakes world of Cold War espionage. His actions not only shaped the course of the nuclear arms race, but also highlighted the vulnerabilities of even the most secure projects. The information he provided to the Soviet Union played a crucial role in their development of nuclear weapons, fundamentally altering the geopolitical landscape of the 20th century. As we reflect on George Koval's life, we're reminded of the complex and often hidden forces that shape history. His story raises questions about loyalty, identity, and the lengths to which individuals and nations will go to secure their interests. Next, we'll explore the life of Odette Sansom, a French-born British spy whose courage and resilience in the face of Nazi imprisonment became a symbol of resistance and hope during World War II. Her tale is one of survival, sacrifice, and the enduring power of the human spirit. Now, let's shift our focus to a story of extraordinary courage and resilience. Odette Sansom, a French-born British spy, stands as a testament to the strength of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable adversity. Her work with the Special Operations Executive, or SO, during World War II placed her in the heart of Nazi-occupied France, where she played a critical role in the resistance movement. Odette's journey into espionage began in 1942 when she joined the SOE, a British organization dedicated to conducting covert operations behind enemy lines. Despite having no prior experience in intelligence work, her fluency in French and her determination to fight against the Nazi regime made her an invaluable asset. She was sent to France to assist in organizing resistance networks, gather intelligence, and support sabotage operations against German forces. Her bravery and resourcefulness quickly earned her the trust of her fellow operatives and the local resistance fighters. However, Odette's mission took a tragic turn in 1943 when she was betrayed and captured by the Gestapo. Her arrest marked the beginning of a harrowing ordeal. She was subjected to brutal interrogations and relentless torture as her captors sought to extract information about her fellow agents and the resistance networks. Despite the physical and psychological torment, Odette refused to break. She maintained her silence, protecting her comrades and the integrity of her mission. Her defiance in the face of such cruelty became a symbol of resistance and hope. Odette's resilience extended beyond her interrogations. She was eventually transferred to Ravensbrück, a notorious concentration camp for women, where she endured months of inhumane conditions. Yet, even in the depths of despair, she found ways to resist. she forged alliances with other prisoners, offering support and solidarity in the face of unimaginable suffering. Her unyielding spirit and refusal to surrender inspired those around her, even as the horrors of the camp threatened to break them. Miraculously, Odette survived her imprisonment. When the war ended, she was liberated and returned to Britain, where her extraordinary story of courage and sacrifice came to light. She was awarded the George Cross, one of the highest civilian honors for bravery, becoming the first woman to receive the medal in its entirety. Her legacy as a spy and a survivor continues to inspire, reminding us of the power of resilience and the enduring strength of the human spirit. Odette Sansom's story is not just one of espionage, but of survival against all odds. Her unwavering determination and refusal to succumb to despair stand as a powerful reminder of the impact one individual can have in the face of tyranny. As we move forward, we'll delve into the life of Robert Hanssen, an FBI agent whose betrayal of the United States would become one of the most devastating espionage cases in modern history. His story offers a stark contrast to Odette's, highlighting the complexities of loyalty and the consequences of betrayal. Now, let's turn our attention to a story that reveals the darker side of espionage, a tale of betrayal that shook the foundations of American intelligence. Robert Hanssen, an FBI agent who spent over 2 decades spying for the Soviet Union and later Russia, stands as one of the most infamous double agents in modern history. His actions not only compromised national security, but also shattered the trust placed in those sworn to protect it. Hanssen's career with the FBI began in the late 1970s, where he quickly rose through the ranks due to his expertise in counterintelligence. However, beneath the surface of his professional success lay a dangerous secret. In 1979, Hanssen made his first contact with Soviet intelligence, offering to sell classified information in exchange for money. Over the years, he provided the Soviets with a staggering amount of sensitive data, including details about U.S. surveillance techniques, double agents, and even plans for nuclear warfare. His betrayal was not a momentary lapse in judgment, but a calculated, long-term operation that spanned decades. What made Hanssen's espionage particularly devastating was his ability to evade detection for so long. He was meticulous in his methods, using dead drops and encrypted communications to avoid suspicion. His colleagues and superiors trusted him, unaware that the man tasked with protecting national secrets was the very one leaking them. The extent of his betrayal only came to light in 2001, when a joint investigation by the FBI and CIA finally uncovered his activities. By then, the damage was immense. Hanssen's actions had compromised countless operations, exposed numerous agents, and left a lasting scar on U.S. intelligence efforts. The fallout from Hanssen's betrayal was profound. His arrest sent shockwaves through the intelligence community, forcing a re-evaluation of internal security measures. The case highlighted vulnerabilities within the FBI, leading to significant reforms aimed at preventing future breaches. For Hanssen, the consequences were severe. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, a fitting end for a man who had betrayed his country and his colleagues. Robert Hanssen's story serves as a sobering reminder of the dangers posed by insider threats. His actions not only endangered lives but also undermined the very institutions designed to safeguard national security. As we reflect on his legacy, we're reminded of the delicate balance between trust and vigilance, a lesson that remains as relevant today as it was during the height of the Cold War. Next, we'll explore the life of Margaretha Zell, better known as Mata Hari, revisiting her story to uncover lesser-known aspects of her life and the myths that surround her legacy. Now, let's step back in time to revisit one of history's most enigmatic figures, Margaretha Zell, better known as Mata Hari. While her name is often synonymous with scandal and espionage, there's much more to her story than the sensational headlines. Born in the Netherlands in 1876, Mata Hari's early life was marked by both privilege and hardship. Her father, a wealthy hat merchant, provided her with a comfortable upbringing, but his bankruptcy and her parents' divorce plunged the family into financial instability. These early experiences shaped her resilience and ambition, traits that would later define her life. Mata Hari's journey into the world of espionage began long before she became a household name. After marrying a Dutch army officer and moving to the Dutch East Indies, she immersed herself in the local culture, learning traditional dances and adopting the stage name Mata Hari, which means Eye of the Day in Malay. Her performances as an exotic dancer captivated audiences across Europe, earning her fame and notoriety. But beneath the glittering surface of her stage persona lay a woman navigating a complex web of relationships and personal struggles. Her marriage ended in divorce, and she faced constant financial pressures, which may have driven her to seek unconventional means of support. The myths surrounding Mata Hari's life are as intriguing as the facts. While she was accused of being a double agent during World War I, the evidence against her remains controversial. Some historians argue that she was a scapegoat used by French authorities to divert attention from their own intelligence failures. Others believe she was a willing participant in espionage, using her charm and connections to gather information for both sides. What is clear is that her trial and execution in 1917 were shrouded in secrecy and sensationalism, leaving many questions unanswered. Mata Hari's legacy is a blend of fact and fiction, shaped by the stories that have been told and retold over the years. Her life serves as a reminder of how easily myth can overshadow reality, especially when it comes to figures who defy societal norms. As we reflect on her story, we're left to wonder how much of her legend is true, and how much is the product of a world eager to sensationalize the extraordinary. Next, we'll delve deeper into the life of Richard Sorge, exploring the intricate network of spies he built and the long-term impact of his intelligence work for the Soviet Union. Turning our attention now to the intricate world of Richard Sorge, we uncover the sophisticated network he built and the methods he employed to gather critical intelligence. Sorge, a master of deception, operated under the guise of a German journalist in Tokyo during the 1930s and 40s. His ability to blend into high society and gain the trust of influential figures was unparalleled. He cultivated relationships with German diplomats, military officers, and even Japanese officials, all while secretly working for Soviet intelligence. This dual identity allowed him to access sensitive information that would prove invaluable to the Soviet Union. One of Sorge's most remarkable achievements was his role in providing early warnings about Operation Barbarossa, Nazi Germany's planned invasion of the Soviet Union. Through his network of informants and his own meticulous observations, he relayed detailed reports to Moscow, including the exact date of the invasion. Tragically, Stalin dismissed these warnings, believing them to be misinformation. Despite this, Sorge's efforts demonstrated the effectiveness of his espionage network and his unwavering commitment to his mission. Communication was a critical aspect of Sorge's operations. To avoid detection, he used a variety of methods to transmit information, including coded messages, invisible ink, and even personal couriers. His ability to adapt to changing circumstances and maintain secrecy was key to his success. However, these methods were not without risk. The Japanese counterintelligence eventually grew suspicious of Sorge's activities, leading to his arrest in 1941. His capture marked the end of one of the most successful espionage operations of the 20th century. The long-term consequences of Sorge's work were profound. His intelligence not only shaped Soviet military strategy during World War II, but also influenced the geopolitical landscape of the post-war era. By exposing the plans of Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan, Sorge helped to alter the course of history. His legacy as a spy is a testament to the power of information and the lengths to which individuals will go to protect their ideals. As we reflect on Richard Sorge's contributions, we're reminded of the complex and often dangerous world of espionage. His story challenges us to consider the sacrifices made by those who operate in the shadows and the impact their actions can have on the world stage. Next, we'll explore the post-war life of Virginia Hale, a remarkable figure whose contributions to intelligence continued long after the war had ended. As we shift our focus to the next chapter of Virginia Hale's extraordinary life, we find her stepping into a new role that would further cement her legacy in the world of intelligence. After the end of World War II, Hale's expertise and bravery did not go unnoticed. She was recruited by the newly formed Central Intelligence Agency, or CIA, where she continued to serve with the same determination and resourcefulness that had defined her wartime efforts. Her transition from the British Special Operations Executive to the CIA marked a significant moment in her career as she became one of the first women to hold a prominent position in the agency. During her time with the CIA, Hale's contributions were nothing short of remarkable. She played a key role in shaping the agency's early strategies, particularly in counterintelligence and covert operations. Her first-hand experience in the field gave her a unique perspective that proved invaluable in training new agents and developing operational tactics. Hale's ability to adapt to new challenges and her deep understanding of espionage made her a trusted advisor and a trailblazer within the organization. Despite the physical challenges posed by her prosthetic leg, which she had nicknamed Cuthbert, she never allowed it to hinder her work, demonstrating the same resilience that had carried her through the war. Beyond her operational achievements, Virginia Hale's legacy lies in her ability to inspire future generations of spies, particularly women. At a time when female intelligence officers were rare, Hale broke barriers and proved that gender was no obstacle to success in the field. Her story became a symbol of courage and determination, showing that even in the face of immense adversity, one could achieve greatness through perseverance and ingenuity. Her influence extended beyond her own actions, as she paved the way for other women to enter the world of espionage and take on roles that were once considered out of reach. In the years following her retirement, Hale's contributions were recognized with numerous awards and honors, though she remained modest about her achievements. She preferred to let her work speak for itself, a testament to her humility and dedication to the cause. Today, Virginia Hale is remembered not only as one of the most successful spies of World War II, but also as a pioneer who redefined what was possible for women in intelligence. Her legacy continues to inspire, reminding us of the power of courage, resourcefulness, and an unwavering commitment to one's mission. As we reflect on Virginia Hale's post-war life, we're reminded of the lasting impact one individual can have on history. Her story is a testament to the enduring influence of those who operate in the shadows, shaping the course of events in ways that often go unnoticed. Next, we'll delve into the psychological and emotional toll of Kim Philby's double life, exploring the complexities of one of history's most notorious double agents. Turning our attention to the inner turmoil of Kim Philby, we uncover the profound psychological and emotional strain of living a double life. As one of the most infamous members of the Cambridge Five, Philby spent decades betraying his country while maintaining the facade of a loyal British intelligence officer. The constant pressure of deception, the fear of exposure, and the moral conflict of his actions took a heavy toll on his mental health. Despite his outward charm and confidence, those close to him often noted moments of tension and unease, hinting at the internal struggle beneath his composed exterior. Philby's defection to the Soviet Union in 1963 marked the culmination of his double life. After years of suspicion and investigation, he fled to Moscow, leaving behind a trail of betrayal that devastated British intelligence. His defection was not just a physical escape but also a psychological one, as he sought refuge in a country that celebrated his actions. However, life in the Soviet Union was far from the utopia he might have imagined. While he was initially treated as a hero, the reality of his new existence was marked by isolation and disillusionment. The Soviet authorities, wary of his past, kept him under close surveillance, limiting his freedom and access to information. In his later years, Philby's life in Moscow became a shadow of his former self. He struggled with alcoholism and depression, haunted by the consequences of his choices. The man who had once been a master manipulator found himself trapped in a life of monotony and regret. Despite his efforts to adapt, he never fully integrated into Soviet society, remaining an outsider until his death in 1988. His story serves as a stark reminder of the personal cost of espionage, illustrating how the weight of betrayal can erode even the most resilient of minds. As we reflect on Kim Philby's later years, we're reminded of the complex interplay between loyalty, ambition, and morality in the world of espionage. His life raises questions about the true cost of living a double life and the psychological scars it leaves behind. Next, we'll explore the post-war life of Dusko Popov, the double agent whose daring exploits inspired one of the most iconic fictional spies in history. Now, let's step into the intriguing post-war chapter of Dusko Popov's life, a man whose daring exploits as a double agent during World War II left an indelible mark on history and even inspired one of the most iconic fictional spies of all time. After the war, Popov's life took a dramatic turn. No longer operating in the shadows of espionage, he sought to carve out a new identity in a world no longer defined by covert operations. Popov settled in France, where he began to rebuild his life, but the thrill of his wartime adventures never truly left him. In the 1970s, he penned his memoirs titled Spy, Counter-Spy, offering a first-hand account of his extraordinary double life. In the book, Popov detailed his work for both British intelligence and the German Abwehr, revealing the intricate web of deception he wove to mislead the Nazis. His memoirs not only provided a rare glimpse into the high-stakes world of espionage, but also cemented his legacy as one of the most audacious spies of the 20th century. Interestingly, Popov's larger-than-life persona and his penchant for danger, charm, and luxury caught the attention of none other than Ian Fleming, the creator of James Bond. Fleming, who worked in British naval intelligence during the war, reportedly drew inspiration from Popov's exploits when crafting the character of Bond. From Popov's love of fast cars and high-stakes gambling to his suave demeanor and ability to navigate perilous situations with ease, the parallels are striking. In fact, one of Bond's most famous scenes, the Baccarat game in Casino Royale, is said to have been inspired by Popov's own experiences at the gaming tables. Despite his post-war fame, Popov's life was not without its challenges. He struggled to adapt to a quieter existence, often feeling restless without the adrenaline of his wartime missions. Yet, he remained a charismatic figure, captivating those around him with stories of his daring escapades. Popov's influence extended beyond his own lifetime, as his legacy continued to shape the world of espionage fiction and popular culture. As we close the chapter on Dusko Popov, we're reminded of the thin line between reality and fiction in the world of spies. His life not only shaped the course of history, but also inspired a cultural icon that continues to captivate audiences to this day. Next, we'll bring our journey to a close by reflecting on the fascinating stories of these 25 mysterious spies and their enduring impact on history. As we reach the end of our journey through the shadowy world of espionage, it's impossible not to be struck by the incredible stories of these 25 mysterious spies. From Mata Hari's enigmatic allure to Dusko Popov's daring double life, each figure we've explored has left an indelible mark on history. These individuals operating in the shadows shaped the course of wars, influenced global politics, and even inspired the fictional spies we know and love today. Their courage, cunning, and often tragic fates remind us that the world of espionage is as complex as it is captivating. What makes these stories so compelling is not just the high-stakes missions or the cloak and dagger intrigue, but the human element behind the legends. These were real people driven by loyalty, ambition, or even desperation who risked everything for causes they believed in, or in some cases for their own survival. Their lives remind us that history is not just shaped by grand battles or political decisions, but also by the quiet, unseen actions of those who operate in the shadows. As we reflect on these tales, it's worth asking which spy's story resonated with you the most. Was it the bravery of Nur-Inayat Khan, the cunning of Richard Sorge, or the tragic fate of Julius and Ethel Rosenberg? Each of these figures offers a unique glimpse into the world of espionage, and their legacies continue to fascinate us to this day. If you've enjoyed unraveling the mysteries of these spies, don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below. Let us know which story captivated you and why. And if you're hungry for more historical mysteries, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss an episode. History is full of untold stories waiting to be discovered, and we can't wait to explore them with you. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and remember, sometimes the most fascinating truths are hidden in the shadows.